Focus to earnings once again, and Godrej Properties September quarter earnings were above what the street was estimating. The company's net profit jumped by more than 85%. To discuss the quarter gone by, joining us now is Piroj Shah Godrej, Executive Chairman of Godrej Properties. Well, thanks a lot for joining us, Mr. Godrej. My first question to you is EBITDA, the operating performance jumped almost 200%. What are some of the factors which contributed to a good operating performance?
Yes, we're quite happy with the second quarter, and it really is built on the strong momentum that started in the first quarter of the financial year. So really the first half as a whole has gone very well. I think the things that have driven that have been primarily that on the sales side we've seen a lot of success. We've had about 2,800 crore of booking value in the first half of the financial year, pretty evenly split between the two quarters. And that number is actually 40% higher than the full financial year FY17 numbers, which is very encouraging for us to see. And we've also seen very good distribution of sales between new launches and existing inventory, as well as between the various markets that we're present in. So I think that sales performance has generated strong operating cash flows, has also resulted in strong growth, as you mentioned. The other area where I think we're very excited with how the first half of the financial year has gone has been on the business development side, and that's been a critical priority area for us this financial year. We've seen 8 new projects with about 18 million square feet of area added within this first 6 months.
Piroj Shah, margins in excess of 15%. Can we expect Godrej Properties to sustain these margins?
Margins in real estate are quite dependent on which individual projects are contributing to revenue in any given time period. So therefore will remain quite volatile. Our adjusted EBITDA margin last quarter was over 30%, and 30% is kind of the long range average target we have. So I think we're quite satisfied with where margins are. But clearly, there is room for further improvement, particularly once market conditions start improving and prices start moving up, because prices really have been quite stagnant for some time now.
All right, so one can expect better margins in the coming quarters. That's what the indication is. But Mr. Godrej, tell us about the 4 new projects that you added in the second quarter. What are the timelines that you're working with these?
The 4 new projects, all quite significant and interesting projects. We've seen 2 profit-sharing projects added in Bangalore, 1 large development management fee project in Thane, and 1 project on the outskirts of Pune that has both a development management fee and profit-sharing component. They're all quite large projects. The average size of each one of those is 3 million square feet. So I think we're quite excited with that traction and hope to build on it in the second half. Some of these projects we think we'll be able to launch quite soon, including within the financial year. So again, this is definitely one of the more important parts of the performance in the first half.
And how was the traction in the festive season this time?
The overall market has been quite weak. We don't think the overall market saw any huge uptick during the festive season. That said, I think overall conditions for some of the developers who have been doing quite well continue to be strong. So we've seen, as I mentioned, our total booking value nearly triple in the first half of the financial year. So I think conditions remain reasonably positive for those developers whose brand remains quite strong, but the overall condition remains quite poor.
Tell us, did GST and RERA have an impact on the September quarter earnings, and what's your take on these 2 reforms?
Yes, definitely for the sector as a whole, I think both of those did have an impact on Q2. I think though the long-term impact from both should be quite positive.
And what are the projects in the pipeline for the upcoming quarters?
We have a fairly robust launch calendar planned. Actually, we've already seen some good launches happen in the first half, but we actually have a higher number of launches planned in the second half of the financial year. We're launching the final tower of our project Godrej Platinum here in Vikhroli over the coming weeks. We hope to launch this new project we added in Thane. We have a launch in Noida. We have several launches across all our key markets. So I think the launch calendar is looking quite exciting for the rest of the financial year.